Welcome to another episode of the Embracing Joy podcast. I'm so excited to have our special guest with us today to talk about breaking survival patterns and how high achieving Black women can find joy from within with our special guest, Natasha Riley. Thanks for joining us, Natasha.
No problem. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited too. This is such an important topic because many of us have survival patterns that helped us survive, but they may
Mhm.
not help us thrive, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So I love that you're going to brush into this topic. So let me tell you all a little bit about Natasha Riley. She's a clinical director and founder of Javery Integrative Wellness Services.
Mhm.
She's a licensed therapist and she's the founder of that wellness service. She has a virtual therapy practice dedicated to helping high achieving Black women transform external success into internal satisfaction. She provides culturally responsive holistic therapy, and she specializes particularly in breaking generational patterns and inherited survival scripts that disconnect accomplished women from what they truly deserve. Wow, that's a very thoughtful mission that you have and a very niche kind of population that you serve.
I know.
Um,
Yes. I serve
yeah,
myself.
yeah. But you say you know yourself the best. So yourself from a few years ago is a good person to
Right.
serve, right?
Right.
Right? Because you learned and you grew and you know what how to give back to that person.
Mhm.
Wow, yes. So before we get started, let's play our game, warm-up game called Convergence. And on the count of three, we'll say the first word that comes to mind, okay?
Okay.
One, two, three. Bird.
Self-care.
Oh, self-care. Okay. Okay. So self-care and bird, something that connects those two. Ready?
Okay. Yes.
Okay. One, two, three. Beach.
Yoga.
Oh, yoga's
Ah,
good.
we're not off. We're
Okay.
not off. We're not
Yeah,
off. We're
yeah, yeah,
almost
yeah.
there.
Yeah. Okay. So yoga and beach, something that
Mhm.
connects the two somehow. It can be broad, it can be any type of way. Okay.
Okay.
One, two, three. Sand.
Outside.
Okay. Outside. Outside and sand are very similar because I was thinking like
I
your
was
feet.
thinking sand.
You were thinking sand. Oh, yeah. See
Hey.
something? Yeah. Okay. So sand and outside, and we can't repeat.
Okay.
So I don't remember. Okay. All right. On the count of three. One, two, three. Ocean.
Vacation.
I said ocean and vacation. Okay. All right. All right. Okay. Ocean and vacation. Something that connects the two. On
Okay.
the count of three. One, two, three. Boat.
Retreat.
Retreat. Okay. It's okay.
See, now this
Re-
is the perfectionist in me. Like, we gonna
uh,
get this.
yeah, we're gonna get it, but it's just, we let it flow. Sometimes we don't get it, and that's okay too. We just cut it. We just cut it after some time, but that's okay.
Mhm.
It's just to get our juices flowing. So a boat and a retreat.
Mhm.
Okay. And try not to get too specific, but on the count of three, say the first word that comes to your mind, whatever it is. One, two, three. All right. Captain came to my
Summer.
mind. Summer. Okay. Summer. Summer and captain on the count of three.
Mm.
One, two, three. Sun.
Job.
Job. Okay. All right. Sun and job. I think we can get this one. Ready?
Okay, so we're doing sun.
I got something that came to my mind right away with son and job. You ready? Yes. Okay. 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 All right.
Okay,
One, son and job. One, two, three. Lifeguard.
astronomer.
Oh, lifeguard. Right. I think we went left.
We
Okay,
did.
we one is on the land and one is in the sky. So, yeah, I think I think that's the end. I think that should be a good ending for that. We almost had it when we were saying sand.
I know,
I think we
almost.
had it. I think we had it there, but that's okay.
Almost, almost.
That's
I
okay.
think that was like an intuition thing. Like, don't second guess your intuition, which is funny enough. Intuition is one of my words for the year, and I definitely, yeah, went
That's
against it
okay.
that time.
Yeah, we just say the first thing that comes to your mind. It's happened to me plenty of time. We play this game on every episode, so
Mhm.
sometimes we get it, and sometimes you just, "Oh, no, I was gonna say that. That was on the tip of my tongue. I didn't say that."
It was a good
Yeah,
laugh. I like that.
yeah, and that's the whole point, just to laugh. So let's go into our interview.
Okay.
Okay, let's go into our interview. So, Natasha, you founded Javery Integrative Wellness Services to support high achieving Black women who look successful on the outside, but they feel disconnected internally.
Mhm.
What are some of the patterns that you see most often keeping women stuck in survival mode? Like, what are some of those patterns that they have?
So, one of the biggest patterns that I know for myself, for the people in my circle, my clients, my clinicians, is that those check boxes, right? So we go through life and there's this set of check boxes that's handed to us, and it's like, this is what you need to do in order to have a life that you enjoy. And so we work really, really hard to check everything off. And we assume that at the end of that, there is going to be this satisfaction. There's going to be this, I don't know, carrot at the end, the gold at the end of the rainbow. And what I'm finding for myself and also for, others is there's nothing there, right? There's nothing
Mhm.
there because usually the check boxes came from something that someone told us we should do. It's not something that we necessarily wanted to do. And so once we get this realization of I've actually done all of these things and I'm not satisfied, then that kind of clears the land to be like, okay, well, what do I want? And now we have to
Mhm.
unlearn the idea that we're doing all these things that people are telling us to do and telling us it's going to make us happy. And we start leaning more on ourselves and identifying what it is that we actually want. And it may have absolutely nothing to do with all of these boxes that someone told us we need to check.
I think that's so important, that internal realization that what makes you satisfied may not be what it looks like on the outside to other people. Or
Mhm.
what, yeah, yeah. I think that's an important distinction to make, is that what will bring you joy or satisfaction in your life is not just a checkbox of what it is to someone else. It's not this, it can't, it's not the same.
Right, right.
Right,
But
right.
we don't know any better, right? Like we spend all of our lives listening to our parents and listening to teachers and professors and all that, and so we just assume that someone's going to point us in the right direction, and we don't understand that we there is some autonomy in what it is that we want to do. And then we also kind of think about Black women. They're kind of reared to take care of everyone else and
Mhm.
to give everyone else what they want. And okay, you want me to go do this, you want me to take this list and do that, absolutely. If it'll make you happy, if it'll please you, then that's what's going to please me. But later on in life we recognize that just because it pleases you doesn't mean it pleases me. And so then we have to unlearn the guilt, and the shame of, well, now people are upset with me, now they're like, what are you doing? Or you know people take it personally when you want to live your own life. So there's
Mhm.
like a lot of unlearning that has to be done when we have all of these aha moments.
Mhm. But there's some room for both. Once you're able to feel more satisfied with yourself, you have more room in your life to help others or to be there for others.
Right. 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 But
Mhm.
if no one knows that, then no one can show that to us, right? So someone in the line, someone in the generations has to say, okay, this isn't working. The way we've been doing things isn't working. And so I'm going to be the trailblazer. I kind of look at it like a field. You know how you go on a trail and it's just like worn down?
Mhm.
Before it was worn down, it was probably grass and all of this stuff that someone wore down. So someone in the lineage has to say, I'm going to go this way and start the path. It may not be worn down enough, right? That may take a couple generations after you, but at least you started deciding, I'm going to go this way and see what's down here and do trial and error, opposed to doing what someone continues to do over and over again. Just because my mom decided I'm going to go this route and it doesn't make me happy, but it makes everyone else happy. And my grandmother did the same thing, doesn't mean that I have to do that. Like if I know there is a different way, then I'm going to try to go that way and see what's over there. It might work, it may not, but I know for sure this is not the direction that I want to go, because
Yeah.
it doesn't make me happy. It makes life feel like Groundhog's Day every single day. And so that's a theme that I notice with a lot of my clients is like what are we doing this for? I wake up every day, I'm miserable, like I don't want to go to work, I could care less to tend to anything, but it's like an autopilot type situation. And so like I really help them kind of decide, well, what do you want then? If you don't want this, what do you want? And that's where things get interesting.
Mhm. Yeah, and then actually, I'm sure they have for so many years of doing what other people want or what they think they want, they may have a hard time figuring out what they actually do truly want. The other
Absolutely,
thing.
that is the issue. You ask them what they want, they're like, yeah, I don't know.
Mhm.
Across the board, that's usually the answer. I don't know.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, so you have to work with them to pull that out.
Yes. Yeah,
Mhm.
which it can be hard. It can be hard because there's a lot of grief that comes with releasing that old version of you and leaning into a version that you have no idea who that person is or what look life looks like on the other side when you start just exploring.
Mhm. Yeah, so how does addressing we talked about generational patterns and the generational pattern of going that same path that's been laid out for you and kind of these inherited survival things that your parents and grandparents may have done just for survival. How does addressing that open the door to deeper fulfillment and joy? Like, how do you actually address those patterns? Like, I know there's
So,
another path you can go, but how do you say, hey, this is how I'm going to address this path, or how I'm going to make atonement with what has been given to me to
mhm.
decide to take a different path?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you, it takes a while, right? Like
Mhm,
for me, I recognize that's not my task, right? So
mhm,
my task is really to ask a lot of questions, right? They come to me with the same issue over and over again. For instance, like I hate my job. Like I hate my job, it makes me upset, I'm irritable all the time. It's my quality of life. I don't want to hang out anymore. I'm feeling depressed, this, that, and the other. And so the question always is, okay, so what are we going to do about that? And
mhm,
so what are we going to do about that? And it's allowing them to figure out on their own. Again, going back to that, well, what do you want? Like, what are you willing to do? What are you willing to sacrifice? What are some things that you're willing to unlearn? What are some things that you're willing to let go? Who are some people that you're willing to disappoint in order to no longer wake up every day feeling irritable, feeling depressed, feeling angry, So it really is just asking the question to see when they're ready for something different. We don't know what different is. right? That's where we start leaning more into pleasure and what pleasure looks like for them and what lights you up, what lights your senses up every single day. But it really is just asking the question, okay, so what are we going to do about that? What are we going to do about that? What's the worst case scenario? I love doing worst case scenario. If you want to go there, let's go ahead and go there. And so going into that space with them and saying, now what's the likelihood of this happening? And if it happens, then what? Like all of those dark places they don't want to go because it's scary to think about it. Let's just go ahead and think about it. If the worst case scenario is I don't have any money anymore. Okay, well, if you don't have any money anymore, then what do you do? Right? Then I might lose my house. Okay, if you lose your house, then what? And we just go down there. And after going through that, there's this light bulb moment of like, but the likelihood of that actually happening, because I do have money saved and I could do this because I have this creative side and I've actually thought about this side job. Or someone asked me, like, there's all these little things that start to come into play when you ask them questions. And it's like, okay, so the likelihood of you, if you choose to leave your job, you've got all these opportunities that you've, said no to. The likelihood of you not
Mhm.
having any money, how realistic is that? And they're like, oh, well, I guess it's not that realistic. Okay, so which action do you want to take today? So I really just
Mhm.
move with them on their time. I tell them all the time, we can talk about the same thing over and over again. It's fine. Eventually you'll get it. If not, then we have to be not okay, but we have to accept where we're at. Because sometimes people are not happy with where they are, but they don't want to do anything different because that's scary. And that's fine too. It's not good and it's not bad that you don't want to do anything different. But how do we
Mhm.
find satisfaction and joy in where you're at right now? Because you're not ready to do anything different. So sitting and harping and wallowing in it every single day, it's not going to do anything. Because the fact is, you don't want to move. So what do you want to do with the information we have right now?
Right. Yeah, and so that introspection, that how you're helping them with that introspection and letting them see, like, if they're in a pre-contemplative state, like, where they're not ready to move, or
Hmm.
if they're thinking about making a move versus they're ready to take action and you're along there guiding them. I think that is a good way to go about people and our response to change, right? Because a lot of
Hmm.
people are hesitant to change.
Oh, yeah.
Change is scary, even if
Hmm.
it's good change. Even if it's a
Hmm.
change can be very scary.
Hmm.
What would you say for some accomplished women that are navigating burnout, people pleasing, or overthinking? What are some of the early shifts that you see them make? After they make so that they can encourage, so that they can move from constant striving to more internal satisfaction. What are the initial shifts that they make?
So one of the first things that they do is I like to have them spend time with themselves. Dun dun dun. Like no one really likes to do that. No one likes it when I say, okay, so for the next 2 weeks, I just want you to sit with yourself. Like if you don't have to do it, if you don't have to go somewhere, if you don't have to engage with people, I just want you to sit with yourself and just see what comes up. They don't like
Mhm,
it. It's a lot of crying and miserable. Probably for like the first week, they're really miserable. And there's a lot of thoughts that come up. There's a lot of things that they have to address because there's no distraction. But after that, usually about the second week, there is clarity, right? There's clarity of, okay, it's not as bad as I think it's going to be. And then they come to me and say, okay, what do I do next? And the most foundational thing that I tell people that they can do when they're moving from this place of like burnout and overthinking outside of rest is, well, what makes you tingle inside? Like, what, because I'm a sex therapist, right? My thing is, what would be equivalent to your orgasm? Oh,
mhm,
well, like I love to go eat this such and such and such. Do more of that. And anything that makes you feel that way, that's why I say like the senses are the basic way to find joy. Whatever else makes you feel that way, do more of that and less of the things that make you feel opposite. Make time for those things every single day. Doesn't matter how big or how small, put yourself on the calendar and do the thing. If eating that thing makes you feel that good, put it on the calendar. If talking to a particular person makes you feel good, make time to talk to that person. If that candle makes you feel amazing, light it every single day. Get an abundance of them and have them on deck. So just it's about going back to what makes me feel good and how do I explore that? Because if I like lavender, then will I like this lavender and vanilla? Ooh, let me try that. Well, if I like the
Mhm.
lavender and vanilla, would I like the vanilla and the citrus candle? Right. And so it just kind of build on top of what we know you like, keep going in that direction. A lot of times people just they stay stuck in doing things that don't feel good. And I'm like, we're just too grown to be doing things that we don't want to do and having experiences that we don't want to have. So let's do more of what you like, which gives us the confidence and just like the energy, right? Like pouring into the cup. Those are little ways to deposit into your cup. The more you do that, the more space you have to like look at the bigger picture of your life and say, okay, what is this next scary step that I'm willing to make now that I have more in my cup? So that kind of helps them move in that direction. And it doesn't happen immediately. Like you may feel crappy for a while, but that's because you've been depleted for a while. So it's going to take a little bit longer to put into your cup. But if you make it a habit, then that decreases the chances of you going back to being completely empty and feeling that way again.
Yeah, I like that. Tapping into your senses and making sure that, I love that tapping into your senses and seeing what makes you feel good and tapping more into that.
Mhm.
Yeah, we talk about that a lot. It's like keeping, knowing what makes you happy, keeping your things like your favorite, make even a list on your
Mhm.
phone. Like, I love this, I love that, so that you can keep
Mhm.
the things that you love around you. And it's a good place to start. So I love that. And with that being said, we're on our wrap up questions.
Okay.
So, who is a model for joy in your life, Natasha?
Oh, wow. Who is a model for joy? So I have this mentor. Her name is Tracy Collins. So she used to be the owner of the National Black Doula Association. She has since sold that. She has moved to Mexico and is just like thriving and happy. And we're both Libras. So I'm like, that's who I'm going to be in a couple of years because she's older than me. But I like to watch her and I like to hear how she is intentional about living her life and how she is able to communicate that to other people. Like she's very unapologetic about why are we doing this? Like why are you doing that? Like she's where I got the whole orgasmic thing, right? Like I want everything to feel like an orgasm. I'm like that makes so much sense to me. And so I
Mhm.
like to watch her and see how she's moving because it kind of helps build a blueprint for me about, okay, well, how do I want to move next? Because there's levels to it, right? Like I'm not at the beginner level of this anymore. But once you get to a certain place, you're like, well, who do I look to? Because I've never been in this place before, and I don't know people who's been in this place before. So it's nice to have her to kind of guide and watch from afar what she's doing.
That's an excellent example. So, what are the top, if you were baking a cake of joy, what would
Mhm.
be the top three ingredients?
Oh, this is perfect. So the top
Mhm.
three ingredients for mine would be pleasure,
Mhm.
self care, and rest.
Excellent ingredients. And coming from a sex therapist, I can see how pleasure is the top of your cake.
Absolutely, absolutely.
This was a wonderful conversation. If there's anything that you would want, one thing that you would want our audience to leave with after listening to this conversation today, one advice that you would give or one thing that you would want them to leave with, what would it be?
Put yourself on the calendar first. Put yourself on the calendar first because if you don't, everything else will take up and you'll be like, there's nowhere for me to put me. So if you put you first and everything works around you, you will know that you're always being poured into.
I think that's so important. That's clutch advice. So thank you for joining us.
You're
How can
welcome.
our audience Thank you again. How can our audience find you if they want to learn more about you and your business, or if they want to be a client? How can they find you?
Yes, so we are Javery Wellness on everything. So it's JAV as in Victor ERY Wellness. You can find us on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook. And then I also have a podcast, Owning Pleasure as a Black Woman. So it's over 100 episodes of teaching you how to find your pleasure in the simplest ways because it doesn't have to be difficult.
I love that. So thank you. Thank you for joining us again. Please make sure that if you're listening, that you like this episode, you leave us a comment and share this with a friend. You would not want to miss our next episode, so make sure that you're tuned in and subscribed. Take care. Have a joyful rest of your day.
Bye.
Bye.